I think that's it embodies, the cannabis industry very well. We have a tagline that we're kind of building into our newer hats. They have it on the inside. It's called "Live Slow," which is just like, enjoy each day. People I think are trying to work so hard for the next day or the next year, and it's like, live slow, enjoy, stop and smell the
right. Every time someone rolls up a joint, an artist gets paid. I'm Jason Raposa. After 25 years of tech and cannabis, I host High Functioning to show what actually works. Today's guest is Aidan, Chief Commercial Officer at Z's Collective. They turn papers, cones, and trays into canvases for independent artists and pay commission on every sale. So far, they've returned more than $90,000 to creators.
Really just to work with the biggest artists to grow our brand. It's to be a platform to bring artists up.
We get into how to build a mission you can measure, how hitting 15 million on social media drives sales, and how art turns everyday products into culture.
You mentioned earlier, you love art. That's the value of it. It's never going to go away. Someone created something that puts you in a state of mind, that gets you to think about something, that even gets you to appreciate something. That's something you can't replicate it.
This is Creative as Strategy. Let's dive in.
My name is Aidan. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of Z's Rolling Papers, or Z's Collective. We are generally a smoking accessory company that is on a mission to promote artists through the cannabis industry. So we do papers, cones, and trays mostly, and we have artists design them. Some are local to Massachusetts, some are from all around the world. Give them a commission on the sale of each of their products. Just crossed $90,000 given to artists so far, and kind of always looking to partner with new people and grow that platform. We also just came out with a cannabis product, though, called the Homie Pack. So we're trying to grow that brand. But those are kind of the two main things we're focusing on.
Very cool. So from the ancillary to the plant touching, in a sense.
Yeah, it's sort of like a licensing brand kind of deal. So it's not, we don't, we're
you
not,
don't actually cultivate yourself.
We're not doing it ourselves, but the whole idea is to do what we're doing with our accessories in the cannabis space. So we have a really cool looking artist design packaging, and it's kind of a, the thing that makes it different is there's a mystery Z's booklet in the inside pouch. So you get your pre-ground flower, you get your papers with tips. You're ready to go, right there. So
I very much love that stuff, because I feel like one of the things I know you guys for is just being a little bit out of the box with your marketing.
Yeah.
It's huge, because I think a differentiator, clearly, because a lot of people are just like, they'll be like, we grow the best weed, and we've got this master grower in the basement for the last 20 years, and it's just put out an average product.
Yeah.
And their marketing is very flat.
Yeah.
So it's like, you guys stand out clearly because you're marketing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. First of all, we have a very, it seems like a problem at first, but it actually has led to what turned into a really
What do you mean by a problem?
Well, we have no marketing budget.
There's no budget,
so
right.
What we have to do is be very original and authentic with what we do. So we do a lot of social media, just videos and, promoting artists and doing goofy things that make people laugh and feel good about, being a part of this community. And, so there's that part. We're actually currently banned on Instagram.
No way.
If anyone wants to take us back up there, that would be nice. But yeah, so that's been a huge part of it. And obviously our products are beautiful. So we let them do a lot of the talking when it comes to branding. We don't put our big logo on all of our products. It's really just, we want people to start noticing if there's an artistic accessory, it's probably Z's, and they're probably trying to promote some new artist. There's almost always on our products a way to track back to the artist themselves. So on our papers, you can read about where they're from, their Instagram, all that kind of stuff. So we really try to rely on the mission of promoting art as our main kind of marketing.
That's kind of like one of their core values, ultimately, right?
Absolutely.
So I think there's a lot to unpack there, because we won't get to social media right away, because that's going to be I think a really great topic for this, because a lot of people want to see that level of success for their own brand.
Yeah.
So maybe unlocking some of those kind of why you chose certain approaches. And through, and I think you said it nicely there. And to summarize again, with restrictions, with constraints, you have to get scrappy.
Yeah.
You got to figure it out.
And figure out how you're going to do it.
People.
Yeah. How can you use what you have?
Right. Exactly.
With, my business partner Gus and I, we are two goofy guys. So instead of trying to make super serious, super serious and gorgeously, digitally designed things, which we're not good at, we're just gonna try to go and be personable on Instagram and see if people want to connect.
Exactly. I think that's what a lot of people get caught up with, especially when they're building their own brand. It's like, okay, we have to be the super serious. We're a real company. We're the real thing, the real way. And they don't realize that like if you stifle your personality, then it just deadens the brand entirely.
Totally.
I'm a super silly dude. Like I'm goofy.
Yeah.
And I always tell and when we're talking about social media, I'm like, let me just do some goofy things. Like it doesn't have to be like alcohol is bad.
Right.
This is good. You know, like it could be totally like just off the wall stuff.
Yeah. And we've completely stopped doing videos that are like, check out these papers or look at this thing. It's all just, let's do something.
We're getting into social media. Yeah. So but no, we can do this.
Yeah.
Because it's naturally going there. But like, that's what I think some of the most successful brands on social media don't talk about their product.
Yeah. The goal is that you like enough of our videos that you follow us, and then having kind of a connection with us already, you go and you check out what we do. And there's kind of this cool moment of like, oh, these goofy guys are actually doing something that's kind of cool and like a good thing for people. And so the goal is that naturally that will drive some brand awareness. And I'll be honest, it's not like we get, a great video and like a million web orders come in.
Right.
But we do now go to places and people will mention, hey, I saw your video, or I noticed that you guys have been, growing on whatever. And so that's been really nice. Just
brand
as like
awareness.
Natural kind of groundwork.
I have one of your hats, for instance. And I think you guys hooked me up when I was over there once at one of your booths. And I was like, I love that hat. I just like the idea of like your whole aesthetic is really clean. Like the corduroy hats.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How did you even find, how did you even think of it? How did you find it? How do you source stuff like this?
Yeah, so that's full credit to our CEO, Eric, one of my good friends growing up in high school. He is always looking for new kind of products and things. So he'll send in the group chat, should we do this ashtray? What about these hats? What about these? And he honestly, we kind of took like a 50 hat flyer on the corduroy hat. I think we got purple hats to start.
Nice.
And we went to, it was Cannabis in Lowell at the time, had been Patriot Care. I don't even know.
Still the Cannabis.
Still the Cannabis. And people just loved them. And we started wearing them, and we've really had a ton of success with them. And it's been super helpful. Again, in marketing, like we didn't plan it. It wasn't like, this thing, but we kind of just gave them out to our initial best customers, and people started saying, oh, we really love these. And
they're super cool. Like I think one of the reasons, and I think I got it at Hexpo in Worcester. I think one of the reasons why I got it, or Hexpo or
Harvest Cup, probably.
Harvest Cup. Yeah, sorry, Harvest Cup. Hexpo ads keep on popping out. Shout out to the Hexpo crew. I think that's Bobby.
Yep, that's Bobby.
Bobby's going to be on the pod soon in the next couple weeks, maybe. Yeah. So we'll get Bobby on here, but to talk a little more about Hexpo. But it was the Harvest Cup and the Harvest Cup. But I got it because it had like a sloth on it.
Yeah.
I was like, I love sloths.
People love sloths, man. One thing we didn't realize was how much people love that animal. And especially in this industry, it's so relatable.
Yeah, just chilling, man. Just gonna eat some food.
I think that's it embodies the cannabis industry very well. We have a tagline that we're kind of building into our newer hats. They have it on the inside. It's called "Live Slow," which is just like enjoy each day. People I think are trying to work so hard for the next day or the next year, and it's like live slow, enjoy, stop and smell the roses.
Right here, right now.
We're living.
Yeah, so it's that, and that's I think that comes through in your brand a lot actually, because it really is. I actually saw a sloth at a zoo. I don't normally go to zoo. I'm vegan, so I don't like zoos. Aren't really my thing.
On principle,
yeah. So I'm just like, I don't really want to see a bunch of animals locked up right now. And I get a little bit snarky with my daughter. She's 8. So my other 2 oldest were at the beach, and we're like, hey, let's just go to the zoo. It was we were at York Beach.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to the York Beach Zoo. And so we're at the zoo, and I was telling my daughter, I was like, listen, imagine if you were locked up in an 8-foot by 8-foot cage, and and a bunch of people are staring at you the entire time. Like, you wouldn't like it, right?
Totally.
Whatever. Sorry.
No, I have a story about zoo, so I'm completely on your page.
So, but it's like, I was a sloth there, and I was just like, and he was just, or she was just like slow, just like grabbing some food. There was like hanging upside down.
Maybe the only animal that's not that pissed at the cage.
He just, and it was like not showing off, but it was right up front, and there was a bowl of food, and he was just like, I was like, this is the most.
Yeah. Plays at his own pace.
And I'm just like, I'm zoned out. I'm just like, all right,
Yeah.
I got that. I mean, that living his life, man.
Yeah, exactly. Pura Vida. It's the Costa Rica
Pure Vida.
like mascot animal. But yeah, no, Samuel. So Samuel the Sloth's our logo. And actually, because the hats were doing so well, as you know, with all our booklets, there's an artist attached, directly. It's clear who's the artist, where to give the money. We're with the merch. We're doing, 5% of all our merch is going to go to the Samuel Fund. So we're looking at different ways in Boston to kind of deploy that, whether that's maybe getting art supplies or partnering with, a foundation to do like a scholarship or something like that. But we're going to try to help kind of drive some more artistic creativity and support into
huge art fan. So, and I think sometimes the role gets lost and they don't think about art, but art is always around us.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I'm a huge fan of art. I was a hobbyist painter for a long time and in all types of media.
Mm-hmm.
What media? What started that whole thing? Like, did you start Z's and you were like, hey, we're making a weed company? Or you were just like, hey, let's try to find a conduit for art to support artists or something?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's obviously a long story. There's a couple different factors. Yeah, there's a couple factors, but the medium version of it is that my business partner and great friend growing up, Eric, we were both seniors when COVID struck, so we were stuck in college. I was on campus housing though, so I went home. Eric had a lease off campus, so him and his roommates were like, I could go home and quarantine with my family, or I could quarantine with my 4 best friends. Right. So a lot of smoking and drinking and hanging out, and him and his best friend decided to start a rolling paper company. Eric and I, and to his credit, mostly Eric has always been super entrepreneurial, and always wanted to have a business. His friend always wanted to have rolling papers, so they're on the
Worlds
couch
collide.
as everything's going crazy in the world, and they say, let's start this rolling paper company. They both go on MS Paint or whatever it is, and they do these mock-ups, and they look horrible. Yeah, and they're like, yeah, we can't.
Was it a high idea where they were just both like?
I can only imagine. I don't want to put words into their mouths, but I would imagine it was. And anyways, they couldn't do the design themselves, so they ended up getting one of their artist friends at Amherst College at the time to do 2 designs. They got 2 designs. They were called Arctic and Desert. Pretty cool designs, honestly. That was like just an upfront one-time payment. I think it was something like $40 or something for the art. They printed a bunch of booklets, way too many booklets. They had no customers, thought they would put these online and everyone would buy them type situation. Anyways, as the lease ended, they went back home. And so Eric was now back at home in the hometown. We were quarantining. We'd go on walks together during COVID just to hang out and gain our sanity and all that sort of stuff.
This is in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts. Yeah. And, so Eric had this business. That's really all we could talk about. I mean, COVID gets pretty boring to talk about every other day. So we just started talking about this business. What's going to set it differently? Because papers are really you don't really think that much about which papers you have. You just recognize one and you buy them usually. So it's hard to stand out. So like, what's really different? They look pretty cool, but what's really different? Why are people buying them? And the other problem was like, we don't have a lot of upfront cash. So if we wanted to have really cool booklets, we would have to pay money for that design. But what if we just instead had the customer be the one who's actually supporting the artist? So you have a percentage of the sales going to the artist, and over time, the artist gets paid more than what they would have for the original, upfront payment, but we don't have to incur the upfront cost, and we get to have the customer as part of this mission of promoting art through cannabis, and that's a much more powerful, really, marketing.
You're flipping the script, really, exactly. Because it's like you said, like you could pay an artist up front and then you get to own the rest of the revenue.
Right.
But you could partner with somebody, you don't have that upfront cost, which, if you're being scrappy, obviously helps a ton for cash flow.
Exactly.
So that, I mean, did how do you, there's so much behind this.
Yeah. And I will say one thing, just like the final factor that comes into all of this is that Eric and I, we used cannabis growing up, and we were both in families where that was not something we were supposed to be doing. And I think both of us have massive respect for our parents as human beings and for having that opinion and for parenting us that way, because I think we've seen friends go down certain paths. We personally, I think, maybe athletically or academically, there were times where maybe cannabis did take a slight, knock off of perfection. Mm-hmm. And so no ill will or anything towards our parents, but we just grew up in a world where cannabis was seen really as the devil's lettuce. And so we wanted, if we were going to do something in this industry, which we knew was going to be a boiler issue, like it wasn't going to be the best PR, at home, we needed to do something that was positive for society. And I think we had both benefited so much from cannabis that we wanted to reflect, and kind of give back to that and pay homage to what it's given us and to the society. Because I think there's tons of people who are doing really good things in the industry. There's also people who are like, oh, I can make a lot of money. It's a new industry. Right. And so I think being the company that stands for something and is trying to spread positivity is needed in a new industry.
Yeah, I think spreading the positivity is what we represent here too. So it's all about that.
Good feels,
right?
Yeah,
feel good. So the amount of artists that you have and stuff like that, that are like repping, that being represented through these products, it seems like everybody is unique in a sense. All the different artists are just coming from all different directions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So backing maybe one level higher than that, when I think of rolling papers, I think of Raw. Mm-hmm. I think of Zigzag. I don't know if that's even around anymore, but that was like back in the day.
They're still a good option. Yeah.
Are you 3, do you think, right now? Or are you...
No, so we would be... So it's
Raw, Blazy Susan.
Yeah, Raw, Zigzag, OCB is really big. Elements is a broad brand, but is sort of a different because they're rice papers. And then Blazy Susan is... We know the Blazy Susan guys. They're great people, actually. They're currently have a better distribution than us. Our focus has been the dispensaries, so that's where we might be we might actually be closer to number 3.
Top 3.
I would still probably guess not. I think maybe 4 behind Raws, OCBs, and Blazies. But again, the rolling paper category as a whole is actually declining a little bit. Blazy's been so successful because they have other products. Their cones are super popular.
I was going to say, people the cones? They don't people don't want to roll it.
Pre-rolls are the fastest growing category, followed by vapes.
Right.
So those are the two.
And vapes don't have
alternatives. Yeah, those are the 2 alternatives to rolling your own joints. And so I think our growth right now is incredible. We're relying heavily on the legal dispensary industry. Like that's a huge part.
Massachusetts is your biggest market?
But it's our probably by saturation, probably our best market.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But New York and New Jersey, which are just larger markets in general, have been cranking with our products.
So revenue top, it might be like New York then?
Yeah, it might be New Jersey maybe.
New Jersey, okay.
It might still be Mass. I don't know, honestly. But we're in 26 states.
It's not like you would know you're the chief commercial
officer.
No,
yeah, I don't know why I would know those things. It's actually the way it's distributed is Eric, our CEO, is he's the one who does all of our supply chain, new products, getting everything.
Dude's a machine.
He's the man. He's really good at what he does. Gus is a sales guy, so Gus is the numbers guy. But he is just, he's purely focused on new opportunities, and I do most of the artist work. So that's where I focus. We all spend 80% of our day doing sales. I just do the sales and let them worry about the numbers more so. Right. Until it's time to.
Are you guys like traveling all around the country right now?
Yeah, we just got back from Detroit actually, late last night. It's for us. One thing you mentioned was talking about the ancillary game, and one thing that's super unique about that game is because you're making so little money compared to the cannabis for the dispensaries for your main customers. Like our biggest customers, to them, we're their 50th biggest vendor. Yeah. So
I feel that we're in the tincture category.
Exactly.
So I feel it. You know what I mean, tinctures is 1.5% of the market.
Exactly. And it's like if people don't have a good flower setup, they're not going to talk to the vape setup people. If they have those 2 set up, maybe they'll talk to the tincture people. And then if they have that set up, maybe they'll talk to me. Right. And again, that's fine because it makes complete sense. If you're a dispensary, you're not selling papers and stuff.
Yeah, it's not your money because you did bodega on the corner piles.
Exactly. But we do offer a really cool value in terms of what you're buying and what you're getting. What we always tell people is you're getting a 50% margin in the product naturally. That doesn't go bad. So like that you can just
it's not bad.
Yeah. So that's a win.
Yeah.
Count it there. The nice thing about our products though is you only find them in dispensaries. So when someone comes in, they're like, whoa, I love sloths. Or, oh my God, shroom booties. then who's the one who delivered that experience? It's the dispensary who has them. You're never going to get that with a raw. You're never going to get that with Blazy Susan. A lot of people are going to buy those, but it's just because they know them and they're going to buy them. With these, it's like a cool experience. And
I
so,
think of Blazy Susan when I think of pink.
yeah,
I see pink
exactly.
and I'm like, oh, it's Blazy Susan. So like
Exactly.
that brand identity is clear.
Yeah, and they nailed it with that, quite honestly.
100%.
Like,
it stands out.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And people love it. So yeah, congrats to them. But so we've just had a ton of success being like, hey, whenever we get into dispensary, we were just in Detroit. We just there's one company, I won't name them, but we just got into 4 of their stores. You know, it was a lot of work just trying to get a proof of concept order, like see if we can get it in. Person was super helpful, like here's how you want to propose it, whatever. So we get into 4 stores about 2 weeks ago, and we go to the show in Detroit, and we see a bunch of people from the stores, and they're like, the trays were gone in the first weekend.
Nice.
And people love these things, and it's like, I'm curious how often you talk about other products that way. Like, you get a new vape SKU in, you're not like, oh my God, people have been going crazy over these things. They just love the design, you know? Like, so I think just that's the added element that combining art with something can bring. Like you mentioned earlier, you love art. Like, that's the value of it. It's never going to go away. Someone created something that puts you in a state of mind, that gets you to think about something, that just even gets you to appreciate something. That's something you can't replicate. And so
are they good papers?
They're really good papers. Yeah. So they're unbleached organic hemp from France.
And it's hemp papers.
Yeah, hemp papers. So a lot of people will be like, do you have the design on the papers? And we say, no, you don't want to smoke inks or dyes. You just want to smoke your flower, let the flower do the talking. You know, these have the papers themselves have magnets on them. You put them on the fridge at the end of when you're done with them, you can collect them. We have a lot of people who say they collect them, which is super cool. And we're trying to figure out ways to encourage that more, whether it's like putting different volumes or different editions of papers and things like that, just to encourage that. Because I think it's really cool when people, buy things that they don't just immediately throw away, and it has value beyond just.
I like that too. Yeah. What do you guys do? Like limited edition drops yet? I'm sure the supply chain for that must be crazy though.
Yeah, so it's a little like, there's minimums, there's wait times. Yeah. So when you do a design, you want to print a lot of, realistically. But we have sort of the designs that we always have in stock, and then we have the designs that are rotating. And if they get good enough feedback, then we might think about replacing one of those kind of core designs. So we're always kind of coming out with limited runs. We just don't know how limited. And that's kind of what, like, to your point, maybe we should say this is the first run of it. And so there's the first edition of a design that might have a certain different value. Not that we'll sell it for different, but maybe to certain people, being able to say they got it in the first.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had a ton of these ideas. I mean, I also think of the artist and being like, what if you were to do a drop? So growing like a mailing list, which I'm pretty sure, I bet, all these things kind of come naturally into this space, but like you grow your mailing list, gets to like, 50,000 people, and you do a limited edition drop, the first 50 are signed by like the artist or something like that. And it's just like, I think you can get a lot of, more heat is on that,
totally
get that going.
We are excited to do more and more of that. Yeah. I will say part of it is like having a big enough emailing list, having an engaged enough following, like,
and not getting dropped from Instagram.
Exactly. That's a huge element. Being there is a big thing. Yeah. I have confidence we'll get back on. I think it's happened once or twice. It's just how it goes with the current way the meta's set up. But I think, we did some really cool stuff. We did one kind of collaboration with a dispensary where we had our followers vote on their favorite of 4 different submissions for the custom papers for this dispensary. It was a really cool, post. We got like some of our best engagement, but our best engagement, I think it was something like a total of maybe 600, 700 votes on this poll. We have 30,000 followers. So it's like, in order to do some of that, like, drop and stuff, like, we really need to grow the
people
base.
Actually need to put their credit card down.
Yeah, people need to like really want to be doing it. Yeah. So we're excited to do that, some of that stuff in the future. And we're actually, one of the things I'm most excited for is we are now purchasing the original physical paintings of the pieces that we're putting in our booklets. So we're gonna soon be able to curate actual gallery shows and things like that of like the Z's collection, and kind of develop the art side of the brand a little bit better. So that's something we're
you should have like a launch party and put the artwork on display.
Exactly.
There's galleries out there that'll host you.
Exactly. And we want to do that and bring the artists together, because I think it'd be really cool to have all of our artists meet each other, because like they're all very different. Like you said, they're all very different people, with different backgrounds, with different literally mediums. Some are digital artists, some are physical artists. We're moving a little more towards the physical side. But yeah, you have different styles, different subjects.
How many artists can you support at any one given time?
Right now, we kind of have like 12 active artists, I would say, but we have worked with 30 in the past.
Okay.
Or 30 total. So
30
total, 12
yeah.
plus whatever, 18.
18 additional.
So we could probably do a little more. We have to find the balance of, if you're a buyer, like I said, if you're a buyer buying the rolling papers for your cannabis dispensary, you don't want to be spending a lot of time doing it. So when you get the catalog and there's 50 different designs for this, like for the king size paper, you're like,
right.
Just like, we have a lot of customers, honestly, who just say, I want this many of this design. We trust you, like put the cool designs in, here's what we have. Send us
or this many of this product.
Right,
like
exactly.
XLs or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
And you're like, okay, we'll put this combo together for you.
Because like, we've honestly probably had either sales not close or take an extra month just because someone like
too many options
needs to take 10 minutes versus 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And
you got to make it frictionless for them.
It's how it goes.
Yeah.
One of our big goals the next coming year is like get a wholesale portal online where people can just go in and put their order.
What platform are you on?
Online we use Shopify, but we use
Shopify. They've got like plenty of wholesale platforms.
Yeah.
Like AirGoods is what we use for our hemp products. So AirGoods is really great. We could, because a person can onboard themselves. They actually take care of all the paperwork, like the ST4 documents, like sales tax stuff.
Yeah.
And AirGoods will kind of onboard you in there. And then, but there's other ones too. There's like roll your own ones. Wholesale Gorilla, I think, is another one, who I know one of the investors of. So like, there's so many plugins to Shopify.
Yeah.
We roll that up pretty quickly.
Yeah, we've tried a couple. The issue is just like getting the prices different on our shop, because like what we've tried a lot of is like you have a login to our shop and that gets you like the different pricing. Maybe what you're talking about would be a better option.
We'll talk offline. I think I might have some suggestions for you. But yeah, so when you're talking about like wholesale orders, there's different levels, of course. There's distribution, there's wholesale, then there's D2C basically, right?
Yeah, and we do about 97% of our business in that second tier of wholesale. The business to business wholesale. Yeah. We have talked to a lot of distributors. A huge issue is they look at the rolling paper category as going down and they say, why would we bring another brand on?
Right.
They don't realize we've been doubling our customer base every year for the last 3 years, and like we're super fast growing and super well liked. It's just they look at the numbers and it doesn't make any sense for them.
Because they're looking at the macro. They're looking at like the whole categories.
Exactly. So they're like, why would we, like, we're looking to pare these SKUs down. We're not looking to get new stuff on. And look, it looks cool, but I don't know if people will actually like it. We get why they say that.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, because the macro environment is, they're, especially at the distribution level, some of these places might have like 20,000 smoke shops that they work with, right? Yeah. So they're just like...
And that's a totally different shelf, too. In a dispensary, you have maybe 4 brands of rolling papers, all within one little eyesight, and they probably have a couple packs of each. So you can see them, you can notice one or the other.
You get your cones, you get your rolling papers, you get whatever.
You walk into a smoke shop, it's like the great wall of rolling papers, and it's like, oh, okay, I'll get the raws. Like, I don't want to think about that.
Right, exactly.
So that's why we work mostly with dispensaries, is to get that sort of extra visibility. But the distributors, most of their business is the smoke shops. And so they're not going to, like, smoke shops aren't going to see a ton of movement on Z's quite yet, because our customer and fan base is growing. And for our product, you need people to notice you and to recognize you and to buy you if you're going to be successful in that kind of a shop. But dispensaries is very impulse buy. You can get on the shelves.
So speaking of buy you, is your goal, and maybe this is more a question for Eric, is your goal to be bought by like a raw or to dethrone like the raw?
I would definitely say it's more so the latter. I wouldn't say there's like a particular enemy. It's not like we don't necessarily see it as a zero-sum game. We see ourselves more as an art company. So our expansion definitely includes becoming a much larger rolling paper, trays, accessories company, but it's also the homie pack. In my opinion, this concept works on dish towels, tissue boxes.
Right. It kind of anything you have just scale across lots.
Anything you have just sitting out. Like, think about your Kleenex box, and they put some, Windows 95, screensaver on it, and people buy it because it looks better than just the plain one.
Right,
Imagine if there was actual art and you're buying something that's going back to an artist.
I like it.
Like, that's something I think people would go for. So I think becoming a huge player in the rolling paper industry would be great. And I think it's such a good platform because people use it 32 times. They look at it every time. They share it with their friends. So it's a really cool place to put art. And I also think ultimately, we've given money, $90,000 back to the artists. Great. It's fantastic. But we've also printed like over 300,000 of these papers, which are just business cards for these artists. And hopefully it's elevating the rest of their portfolio. Hopefully it's elevating what kind of collaborations they can do in the future. And that's what really gets us excited, is because if all of that comes back around to us and we're helping promote artists and they're crediting us a little bit with some of the exposure they're getting, then that will help us, that will reconfirm and validate our mission to our.
So I get it now. So basically the long-term vision of this is to really kind of like be more, it's just artist driven.
Yeah.
And so you get to kind of play in all these different places, not just rolling papers.
Exactly.
So I'm definitely understanding the mission a little bit better here. And it's definitely becoming much more clear, kind of like, because from the outside, it's like, oh, they're just a rolling paper company, right? Now, even with the new tagline, for instance, in the hats, live slowly, right? Like, that's part of that kind of brand building exercise that's happening. With the artists, though, since you hold like 12 right now-ish, what's the process for like finding those artists? Are they coming to you at this point because they've kind of heard word of mouth? Or is it like you're going out there and be like, I really like that digital art. Or I really like this physical art. Like, let's go talk to this dude.
It's
or gal, like, dude, you know what I mean?
Dude, gal, whoever. And we have a couple guiding principles. First of all, we understand we're three 27-year-old whites. So when we like a design,
you're good kids, though. You're good kids.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean everybody's gonna like, the sloth who's smoking. So we actually have an email chain of like 20 people who just are also art fans, but might not
kind
be
of like a
us.
tastemaker list.
Yeah, and so we just send them a couple designs. They'll say yay or nay, just what they like about them, and so that's helpful. Really helpful.
Is that like your advisory board? Like, what do you
We call it the art committee.
The art committee, I like it.
Yeah, but we'd like to see, actually, if any of the art committee is watching this, we'd like to see better engagement from the art committee. But no, so we use that to kind of check our biases. But
can I get on the art committee?
Yeah, we could definitely get you on, as long as you respond.
I love art.
As long as you
I'm
respond.
super proactive.
Okay, good. And then so there's that. But in the beginning, it was during COVID time, so it was all Instagram reach outs, mostly digital art. As we've gotten into this actually collecting of art and kind of really we like to promote art, but like we really think that the people who are painting on canvas are like the people who should be celebrated. And that's like, especially with AI coming in, like that's a really cool thing that we want to preserve. So we've been leaning a little bit more towards that. As we've gotten a little bit bigger, we have a lot of people who come to us, they want to do designs. So we're always open to submissions, and some are great, some are not so great. We send them to the committee if we think they're good enough. If we've worked with some people through that method, and that's great. Sometimes we'll reach out over Instagram and then we'll meet them in person. Sometimes we've started to go to art shows, so we'll meet people through there. We actually met like an art manager at one of those shows who's now put us in touch with two people who are really cool. So it's getting a little bit more meeting people, and we're, as we're growing, we're able to support, we're not going to go work with Keith Haring, but like,
well, I don't think that'd be dreamy someday, right?
Well,
that'd be pretty cool, you think? Or
it would be cool, but our goal isn't necessarily just to like work with the biggest artists to grow our brand. It's to be a platform to bring artists up.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We don't necessarily want to work with an artist there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's not like you can see his in the Guggenheim. You could probably see his work, right?
Exactly. So, and so like from the excitement of it, we'd rather work with someone that's like more coming up, but also from building the brand, like you've been talking about, like that's what people love to do, is to support artists, not just buy art, but to support the artist's journey.
But I think you might have and again, we talk a lot on this podcast about focusing on one thing at a time and not going too broad. But my brain goes like super broad sometimes. I gotta come back to earth. Yeah. But one of the things I was thinking about Keith Haring, or you think about like all those New York art, like Basquiat or like Roscoe, like whatever, right? If you could get one of those as almost like getting the Christie's auction house kind of level, Sotheby's level art, people who are art enthusiastic to potentially fund something like that or fundraise for something like that, then
That's
you
a good
potentially
idea. Crown
could
yeah.
use that money towards
Yeah.
growing more artists.
Yeah.
And places.
That's a good idea. If we were to do something like that, it would probably have to be more like your limited run idea, where
Right.
it might be a little more expensive to fund the licensing fee or whatever. Because when you
those
get with
aren't
that,
cheap, I bet.
exactly, like once you get to that level, it's like, here's my manager, and
Exactly.
get
Well,
ready.
there's estates.
Get the checkbook
right?
out.
Because Keith
Yeah.
Haring is, all right.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
But like, it's like all these collections are owned by the families or someone who purchased them from the families. So you have to work through lots of layers of bureaucracy, I'm sure, to even get in touch with the right person.
Yeah.
But just as a thought, just because it's like, then you could potentially raise a lot of funds towards like
No, it's a good
art
thought.
programs or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that would be in the spirit of potentially some of those artists being like, yeah, we want to be more.
Yeah, and they a lot of the artists that work with us are people who get the mission.
Right.
You know, when you say, hey, we'd like to, here's the model, we'd like to pay you commissions on the sales, and that's where you could see the long term, real financial benefit. We'll pay you up front for, a design fee or whatever. Now that we're actually buying the physical painting, that's an upfront deal for them. But they know their worth, and a lot of them are really excited by the thought of getting on thousands, tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of products that potential future buyers are going to be using.
Exposure,
So,
yeah. I know a lot of artists hate the word like, oh, we're doing it for exposure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like in this case, there's real money attached to
Totally.
it.
That's why we back it up. Like, we'd feel a
We're just doing
lot
it for
worse.
exposure.
Yeah, we'd feel a lot worse saying, hey, like, give us your art. We're going to get you like a lot of exposure. It's like,
Exactly.
no,
You might get some sales from it.
Yeah.
You might.
And to be honest, we love paying our artists, but we also get, that's the reason we exist, like
Right.
as a business, and why we've survived is because people like that we do that.
Right.
And so as much as it is 100% our mission to do that, it's also 100%, a marketing thing that we can go around and,
It's part of it.
in the spring we just given $45,000 to artists, and now we can say we've given $90,000.
That's right.
If you're into cannabis, entrepreneurship, or just like hearing from people who actually build things, check out High Functioning. It's real talk with founders, operators, and big thinkers. No fluff, just game. New episodes drop every Friday, and you can subscribe and listen at highfunctioning.show. All right, let's get back to the show.
Does that track with your growth?
It does. As we've evolved, now we can spend a little more
On the
up front. So we spend more on the art, and we actually have a different commission model now. But it's growing faster than it ever has been. And, so it's not like you could say, okay, we've given this much, like, here's their quarterly earnings. But like, it's a little different for each artist. And there's always like, nuances. So some people are illustrators, and so they need to, if I ever need that art, I needed the rights to it. So that's a different thing, So there's all these different things that go on. But
Yeah, because I bet in the art world, and I haven't done too much in the art world within the last decade or so, but at a point I was buying art. But I bet there is like, probably for licensing, there's like the digital rights also, just beyond just the physical rights.
And
too.
we've actually run into, interesting situations because of that, like where, you're gonna have new processes around getting contracts and being much more clear about what it is that we're actually purchasing and what they're giving us. Yeah, exactly. Because and the nice thing is, artists, while they may not be the most business savvy, we know they don't really have malintent, and we never have malintent. So if there's miscommunications, we'll figure out the best solution.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's been times where, like we have individual agreements with everyone. They're all around the same structure, and they all usually have the same numbers, but different people have different just things that are going on and things that they feel particular about.
So how does, I guess, what's your position on the AI side, since we kind of brought it up?
Yeah.
Now?
Well, I mean, I'm massively against it in pretty much every form. I think the only thing I would, sympathize with is the well, I love AI. I love AI.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things you can do with it. I think there's a lot of benefits potentially there, although some things to be cautious about.
Of course.
I think that art, it's just like, what if the top 10 on Spotify was AI music? Like, I don't think anyone would be happy about that, And maybe like it probably would be. And like, you can do a sick tiger as long as you don't look at the toes and realize there's 15 of them. You could get a really cool AI tiger.
Pretty sick tiger.
But I mean, first of all, there's studies that show there's a 10 times larger effect of seeing art in person versus digitally. So that's not a direct AI versus not AI, but you can tell that there's a real element of like the human element of art. And in my opinion, when I'm looking at art, half of the fun is what it looks like, and half of the fun is like, why did he paint this? Or why did you paint this? And why, it looks like he went over this and did this. And some of our art is really cool how you can, follow that mind of the artist. And the AI art I think just shoots an arrow right through that. And so we did a April Fool's. We did an AI booklet, and we said, we're launching this new thing, and we had dozens of artists in our DMs. Like, what the hell? Like, and I think struck a nerve. Yeah, and when you're, I don't know, it's like if anything, it's like if you practice basketball your whole life, and all of a sudden you can pay $10 to buy a robot at Walmart that plays basketball better than you're going to be kind of annoyed about it. And so I think
unless you went one-on-one, you ISO'd.
Yeah, if you won, maybe. But I think the larger point though is that,
of course,
that for real artists who've poured their life into finding something creative, I think we're going to do our best just to make sure that they're celebrated.
Well, I think the human element is the hardest thing to copy, without a doubt, because you can also have a robot that paints in the physical, and they do it, and they maybe add like human elements of mistakes or overwriting things or whatever. So like that stuff potentially could exist, but I still feel like I have so much hope every time, maybe I'm a little bit high, at night when I'm cruising on Instagram, and I'm just like, there's so much cool stuff being made all the time. I'm like, how are people so creative?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of new technologies
that enable some of that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's why it's like, for me, AI is an enabler tool, not necessarily like a replacement.
Yeah, I agree. I think what's challenging is when you see, and it's like, again, you kind of understand it, but like you see a lot of cannabis brands even who will want to make a really cool looking package, and they'll just go to AI and get it. And it's like
the first result, they're like, I'm just going to put this last
and it's like
good enough.
Sure, it looks cool, but like you had an opportunity there to like really do something cool, support someone, get something that people are going to really like. Mm-hmm. And I think it's underrated. There's a huge, honestly, I think it's almost, hypocritical is not the right word, but it's almost like you got to look in the mirror for yourself. It's like cannabis people should know better than anyone how deep a sort of kicked under the rug community can run. Like I think people in legal states have so much sympathy for people in states where it's illegal, because we know how good it can be. Everyone knows that, but just because of where you live, you can't get. So I think when you think about cannabis brands looking over artists, it's like, dude, it's the same thing. These are people who are doing something that's beneficial for society, promotes creativity, promotes the human element of connection. And yeah, sure, there's alternatives to it, but they're all like
people are taking shortcuts,
man-made, and they're fake, and they're shortcuts. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of actually.
I feel like there's also the you said something really, really interesting, which not really related to any of the stuff right now, but like you're right, because when you go to another state, you're like, oh, I feel so bad for people who live here because you don't have access to it.
Because you know the struggle.
Good could be.
Yeah.
And I do feel like sometimes I think on the day-to-day that gets lost in this industry, because yes, it's hard. Yes, it's super restrictive. And yes, you're playing business in hard mode all the time, but you're in an industry that literally didn't exist 5 years ago.
Totally.
Or now longer than that, of course. But like, you don't realize sometimes the grass is always greener. It's just
totally.
Like, oh man, if I could just not have 280E and I could pay normal taxes, then I would be so much better. But think about all the people in places you can't even buy it.
It's like, or like imagine with, what you were doing was illegal and you could at any time just get raided and your whole business is going away anyway. So it's like this is way better. Yeah. And now I think what the important thing is for people to understand that as much as it seems inevitable for people in this community, it's not.
Yeah.
And we all have the baton right now of how do we represent this in a way where people who don't just wake up and smoke 6 joints actually want to accept this. We were flying home and Eric showed me this tennis player who was like, I hate the US Open because I just smell marijuana. I'm tired.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like I'm tired. I'm in the middle of a set and I don't want to smell that. And it's like, okay, that's, fine, maybe. you don't always hear about the drunk guy who's yelling at you. And
That's true. There's been some disruptive people.
People have learned to accept that. So I'm not necessarily saying he's like on his high horse, but we have a responsibility as people right now when it's on the edge, when our president who can make a decision because of this thing or that thing, is about to
flip a switch.
Is about to make a really important decision. When a lot of these states are like thinking about a hemp ban, maybe yes, maybe no. Do we recreationalize? Like, what do we do? Is it good or is it bad? Everyone who's a part of it has a huge responsibility to represent it well.
It wasn't even that long ago that I remember Tommy Chong went to jail. Yeah, because he had like a not rolling papers, but it was like some ancillary company. He was like Bronx or something like that, right?
Yeah, I honestly I can't say I'm familiar with that one, but it's there's a million
like 20
stories.
years ago.
Yeah, there's a million stories.
It wasn't that long ago in my head, anyway. It's just like Tommy Chong getting arrested. He had to spend time in jail.
Yeah,
for having a company that was bonked or something like that. Yeah, it's like
it's ridiculous, and it's like we're still selling water pipes, and we're still it's just like, look, guys, like you don't go into a liquor store and you get your alternative liquids in whatever glass preserve bottles. It's like you get beer. Like, people know what you're going to get. Exactly. They know why you're going to get it. And it's fine. Yeah. And so, we have a long way to go.
Yeah. You can figure it out.
We have a long way to go, but we still have, there's a lot of stuff, but it's.
Well, we don't have to go too far down that path, because I was more just saying like how different it is in different states and perspective.
Yeah.
So if you go to a state like Utah and you're like, oh,
totally.
It's just bizarro world sometimes.
Yeah. I lived in Utah for 2 winters, and it's like, you don't want to just be out there smoking, because it's really off-putting for a lot of people out there. And I think that's part of it too. Is like, you got to understand where you are. Like if you're in Boston,
100%.
Sure. Maybe if you're in the middle of the park.
Well, that's where like I actually have a personal connection to Wyoming specifically, where it was, it's so there's severe penalties for some of this.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, what do you mean? Like, because I'm just so freely, we're talking on a podcast about it. Like, we have companies in this industry. Getting back to the artist side though, so you got 12 currently, you've had 30 in total so far. What do you like, are you on the hunt for more right now? Like, is your application process?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little informal. You can always submit an application through our website. So then you send us your portfolio, and we do look at those. Like it always, I know what those, like info at kind of emails. Like, okay, sure.
Who's actually looking at this? Yeah, it goes into the trash right away.
Like, we all look at them. I will say, like, there's probably a higher chance that your design is on a booklet if we meet you in person and you're an artist, or if you know one of our artist partners and get introduced that way. But, we basically, we'll have a call, kind of see if the whole structure is going to work out, talk a little bit about what the design might look like. And we just want to make sure that we have designs that complement each other and something for everyone.
So do you take an artist's artwork and put it on maybe multiple SKUs, or do you how many SKUs do you have?
So we started with just papers that have tips in them. Now we do papers with tips, papers without tips. We do rolling trays. We do cones. We do cone jars. Probably going to do some, maybe some grinders or mills.
So when you put the artwork on it, can you put it on the, do you have like ceramic tips or anything like that potentially?
We just put like Z's on the tips, because again, you don't want a bunch of stuff. And the ceramic tips everything gets a little more expensive. We want to be like affordable for everyone. So we just kind of easy with that. But we basically, our usual method is we start with a paper, because that's the best canvas. It's like, it's a square. People use it 32 times. If a design does really well, then we might put it on a rolling tray. And if that does really well, then we might put it on a cone. So we have because we only have 3 designs for a cone. So those are like our 3 most popular designs.
Right.
And also just like they're long-standing, people recognize them. So as we do more SKUs.
Are cones the best? Is that like a really great, or if not great, the best way to consume potentially?
Cones?
Over like rolling your own? I want your opinion, not necessarily like.
I will always say that rolling your own joint is going to be better.
That's where you start.
There's a couple reasons. I mean, I don't want to go on a crazy tirade against pre-rolls right now, but first of all, like, never get pre-rolls. If I ever get a pre-roll at an event, I literally dump it out and I re-roll it.
Do you really?
I do, because It's overpacked. I usually like to put some more fresh bud mixed in with it because it's usually like dry. Like you gotta be realistic. Like the flower that's in your pre-rolls is the flower that didn't look good enough to be in the flower
in the
category.
Yeah.
So it's like that's separate. The cones though, they're fine. If you can't roll, you can't roll. It's like we don't
That's
judge.
a lot of people who can't. I can't roll.
The only thing is you just got to be careful about packing it, overpacking it, inconsistently packing it. A lot of people will like fill it up and they'll pack it from the top. So like just the top will be packed, the bottom won't be loose. So like you got to just be a little.
Do you guys have like tutorials on all this stuff?
We have a video online of how to roll a joint.
How about packing cones? You got to get that one up. I feel like I'd be totally lost.
Yeah, I mean packing a cone, it's like you put it in.
But you were talking about like packing, like
but I think if you care about that, you should just learn how to roll a joint. Because
fair.
The thing about rolling a joint yourself is you can control the size of it. If you want it to be long and skinny because you want to smoke it for a while, but you don't want to get super high. Do you want it to be huge because you got a bunch of boys over? Do you want it to be small? It's like you just have ultimate control over it. You can make it just the way you want it.
Otherwise, I can get like the half grain pre-roll. I can get the full grain pre-roll.
Exactly.
That's all you get for options.
And there's something about it's like gardening. The tomatoes taste better from your own garden.
Yeah.
If you roll it yourself, you're gonna enjoy the joy.
Yeah, it's part of a ritual. Really, it's just like this is what I do.
Absolutely.
Because I've been hearing more about like, and I'm not a flower consumer because I'm a lightweight most everything,
Fair.
But I've been hearing more about like cannons. I don't know if the right term where they're like straight.
Yeah.
So like a cone.
Yeah. So like traditionally people rolled in a way that would generally become more conical. Yeah, conical. I think people are doing the cannons, especially with the introduction of the hash hole, which is like you do the snake of hash, and then you roll it up, and I think it just kind of makes it so it's a more even burn.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. I'm also like when it comes to this industry, I've found out that I'm also a lightweight, so we just roll like normal joints, like normal joints. Size, we actually just now are coming out with our double wide papers because like we never even.
That's the demand, though, right?
Bigger
the market.
Joints. Yeah, it's like really okay, like. Okay.
That's literally what happened to us though, because I'm a lightweight, so I created a 100 milligram product, and everybody kept on telling me you have to make it bigger, make it stronger. And I'm like, why would you ever want more than 5 bigs?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're like, well, I'm actually going to do 300.
Right, exactly. I'll take 150 right now though. So that stuff just amazes me all the time. But you got to listen to your audience.
Yeah.
So totally. About your audience though, do you track from a brand perspective, like demographic data, like on your Shopify, do you have any kind of interesting tools that you use to be like, all right, it's 25 to 35-year-old, 70% male, whatever.
We track that by
feel.
Do anything
with it?
By
feel. Okay.
Yeah, like we don't have a graph of here's all of our buyers, but we do know who loves us at pop-ups. We can see who's buying us on things. We know which buyers we're more likely to, like, we'll see the LinkedIn picture of a buyer and be like, that's a deal.
That's a deal.
And like, yeah. And it's like, and it's not people who look like us. It's like, if we see someone who looks like us, we're like, oh shit, we're going to have to sell him because he's probably going to be like, some bro who's like, what's the price? Whereas we see someone who's like, oh, they look funky. Like this might be easy. We're talking to an artist or someone. So yeah.
So when it comes to the, I want to now get back to the social media side.
Yeah.
Obviously that's a huge way of getting people's attention, brand awareness, growth. What platforms are you or were you on?
Yeah.
Were you even on
TikTok and Meta are most ones. We're on Facebook, but we don't actively manage it, and I think we have a Twitter handle. We don't post on it.
Okay.
But Instagram has been super great for us. And TikTok is great for us as well.
What about on not Twitter, sorry, on Instagram and on TikTok? Are you what's your strategy there? Are you shooting a video once, posting on the platforms the same kind of thing, or
we usually post to TikTok first and then to Instagram. I have no idea why Eric does that. That's the way
Eric's kind of thing.
Eric's the man behind the camera. Me and Gus are the guys who do the skits, and Eric chops them up and posts them.
Where's the inspo come from?
we will all watch reels and send, like, we do a lot of monkey see monkey do, like a lot of our stuff we've seen before. It's not like we just came up with this idea.
No, of course we do the same thing. It's so funny because it's like sometimes I'll see you do something, I'm like, oh, I saw someone else do that, and I was like, fuck, I should have done that too. But now Aziz has done it, and then I'm like, now I'm so close to Aziz, maybe I can't do it. You know what I mean?
There's a couple accounts, like there's a lot of like realistically a lot of like beer related content.
I get the same thing.
You can translate to cannabis. I want to shout out this one account called Judy's Cafe.
Oh, I love Judy.
You know Judy?
I know Judy.
She has the best pancakes.
Best pancakes.
And I think like that is a great example of just what we're trying to do. Where like Judy is just, in every other sense, just a normal woman. And she just puts herself out there, does hilarious videos that people just laugh at. It's not necessary. She has her pancakes involved actually in a lot of the videos, but it's not like, look at the moistness of this pancake. It's like, oh, this is a funny video.
Yeah, now she's doing like, I saw her in like on a collab the other day.
She like that's has a second location now. It's like, Judy.
She's doing it. She's doing it. Yeah, and I think that goes, I've heard this quote a few times, but I think I just recently heard it from like Childish Gambino, Don Glover, and aka Don Glover. And he was basically saying like, I make that joke all the time to my kids because there's an artist called Don Oliver. Don Tolliver. So I say Don't Oliver. Anyways, stupid dad joke. Got him in the car every time. So he said, like, basically, like, nobody like if you embarrass yourself, like, who cares kind of thing. You have to you're entertaining at that point. It's about entertainment more than anything. About like no one cares about your features. Like how fast acting are you? Are you 5-minute fast acting or 25-minute fast acting? Nobody cares.
They want to laugh, and like honestly, I picture like 80% of the people who like our videos, they're just
100%.
You know,
that's
like and like great. I've been there a million times on my phone, and I just want to see something funny. And so we just like we know what we're good at. That's what I think has been a big change for us. Like we can't, we're not going to craft these crazy elaborate marketing things. What we do, honestly, the process is at night, if we're scrolling in the bathroom, whatever, we send things to the group chat. We spend, I would say 80% plus of our days just cold calling, emailing, and doing sales account management. And so it usually comes 3:30, 4 p.m. in the day. Maybe we've had a couple good wins in the day already, and it's like I don't really want to keep calling.
Brain's a little bit.
Anyone want to do some content? Anyone want to do some content? We'll get in the living room. We'll pick out 3 or 4 videos, and we'll just do them. We'll post probably 2 of the 3 of them, and like we realized like you got to be consistent. You got to keep posting stuff. We never know what video is going to do well, what video is not going to do well. Some of our best videos that we, in our opinions, don't do well. Some of the worst ones get millions of views. So.
But how do you even judge? Because it is so hard to judge. But like when you think something's like, oh, this is not even a good video, is it because, do you think it because the acting's off?
It's like, the first thing is like, is the acting like promote funniness and like fun? Or like relatability? If that's on, then that's good. Second thing is it too long? Like, is there one person talking for too long and you just scroll? Does it not develop to the joke quick enough and you just scroll? Does it not have a good enough music to like keep you for the first 5 seconds until the thing that's funny happens? Like those are things that can go wrong, and then it's just complete randomly luck. Like, it's like I don't know. I think maybe it's the first 100 people see it and 2 of them share it. And like that happens to like tell the algorithm like put this on the fast lane.
Well, there are layers to it. Right? So like I think we were talking about this the other day in the office. We were like shares are the number one signal right now, then comments, then reactions kind of thing, and then views. Views are kind of worthless, and it's a vanity metric. It's like how many people actually did something with it though. What is some of like more successful stuff you've done? Like what are the heights that you've reached?
Our best video right now is like 15.2 million. And that was when you hear the grinder clink, and it was just like when you're rolling a joint and you kind of click the grinder just to like get everything to fall through. And it's Gus, had been asleep, and he wakes up and he's like, oh, it's time to smoke. And it was funny. Are you familiar with flour mill?
Is it?
It's a product. It's a
like a grinder.
It's a mill. It's like
Oh,
grinder.
no.
But it's like the next generation of grinder. But we had it in this video. We had the flour mill product, and the guy from flour mill, we had kind of known of each other, and he was excited about the video blowing up, and Raw used our exact sound. Like you can hear Gus laughing in Raw's video, and they did it with all Raw products. And so that was kind of a good feeling of like, oh yeah, okay, well, if Raw's copying it, then we must have done something good. Not even in the sense that we want to be on Raw's stuff.
Right.
We don't necessarily like think their brand is the coolest thing of all time, but what we, it did signal like, okay, they took notice. So yeah.
Interesting, because you see Josh has a presence.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And who runs Raw, and you also see that like the amount of stuff he had to go through to be that resilient to grow that brand. At the end of the day, you got to respect.
Yeah, no, he hustles, and like he's got a loyal, following.
He's got people who love his products. Yeah,
I think he's tapped into like a certain channel of cannabis community that resonates. Quite honestly, like we have like a pretty opposite take on what the cannabis community is from Raws, and like we definitely bring that out in our brand. Like we are competitors. I don't have any ill will towards them, but it's just like I think they sort of went with the like stoner, like smoke weed kind of vibe, and we went with the like creativity, cannabis is fun and positive kind of vibe.
Right.
And I think both are really are fine and have their own lanes, but yeah, I mean, we try to be very different on social media than Ross. Like we don't need to have a bunch of
15 million using that one, and then they ended up copying the sound. That's actually super interesting. Yeah,
and then we probably have like, I would say 10 that are over 1 million, but probably in the 1 to 5 million range. And a lot of those have been recently. Like it's been, and
it's the more entertaining ones. I'm assuming they're all.
It's all the entertaining ones. Usually they're pretty short, and usually they're just relatable things. Yeah, like it's just relatable. Like there's one where. One of them that did well was like, cleaning the house high versus not cleaning the house high. And you're like, yeah, it may take longer, but you're having fun. That type of thing. Another one that was super popular was like, we saw a video from a beer channel, and it was like, the guy walks out of his house and cracks the beer, and you could hear it across the mountains, and his friend who lives in a different state like cracks his beer.
I saw that one.
That one. Yeah. And so we did the same thing with like the click of the lighter, and like that one's been doing really well. So they're all just like quick, I'd say like under 10 seconds, but something to laugh at, and something that people are like, damn, I've done that. Or I wish that was me, or like that reminds me of my boys. Because I think it's the relatability. Like you said, the shares is what I think drives the algorithm. Yeah. And so if they're like, oh, I've got to show Tyler, exactly. Like that's when.
Gotta send this over.
Yeah.
So you gotta send it to the group chat.
Yeah.
So on social media, IG, you get taken down. Is this the first time you've been taken down?
This is the second time we've been taken down in the last like 3 months, and it's because we're growing. Like we're probably just showing up on the radar more. We came back within a day or two last time. We generally are just a very positive page, so I hope that we'll get.
There's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah,
I don't think there is. I
hope if we do get rescheduled, I hope that changes things a little bit.
I think that would immediately change things. So yeah, the rescheduling is obviously a hot topic because I've heard from so many people. Like a lot of operators are being like, "Thank God we're gonna get relief from 280E. We're gonna."
Don't count your chickens though.
Yeah, we don't know exactly. We don't know because the way it's written, it depends. Banking becomes easier. Always we're like, thank goodness we can be treated like a normal company. And then other people basically being like, then pharma companies are going to control it.
Yeah.
So there's both sides. I don't know where the coin's on this one.
Yeah.
But I do know that like I'm definitely looking forward for some 280E relief. But we're still profitable with 280E, but like barely kind of thing. We're hanging in there, but it's hard.
Totally. And like it is unnecessary, random things that it's like, all right. We can't even have a national market, and we have to have this thing that hampers us, and this tax, and this thing. And it's like,
well, then IG takes you down.
Yeah,
and then you're like, what do I do now, right? Yeah. And especially for a lot of operators, they don't know what to do next. Yeah. They just have to hit the appeal button and they just
Totally.
like, I hope that worked.
Yeah, totally.
There's no person to call and all this other stuff.
For us, luckily, like IGs, like for some people, that's like their whole thing. That's how they make money. For us, luckily, it's a marketing thing. If it's down for 2 days, we don't die. Some people like, we're really good friends with a lot of the influencers or, the Canada influencers. And like, if their account's down, like
they're dead in the water.
That's their value. So
yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons why we can have this podcast, because we can highlight a lot of these stories, but like we don't rely on the podcast to generate revenue.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Just like our IG, it's not there to generate revenue. It's there to entertain, get people brand awareness. But I do feel bad. I think like the more recent success story, or not success yet, TBD, but I think this might be successful, is Natalie Benson's new line.
Yeah, the Garden Mother.
Garden Mother.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great pivot, because she has this great audience, and her average reactions are something in the thousands all the time, right?
Yeah.
So she's grown all of this for so long, and we talked to her like even a year and a half ago to like do something with our products. Before now, she's like huge, and I'm like kicking myself and not like following up too hard on that one. But maybe we should reach out to her for the podcast actually. But anyway, it's because she has this new launch, but
she's about to get very busy though.
I bet. Oh yeah.
So
I know.
get her quick
anytime soon.
Yeah.
No, and there's another person I want to bring on who is also pregnant too, and I have to wait because there's whole
priorities.
Priorities, right? But I mean, we're pretty popular.
Yeah.
We're pretty special. So if we can get her on, that'd be fantastic. But the point is, like, she had this great influencer brand.
Yeah.
Now she's actually turning it into a product brand.
Totally.
Which I think is a great step for her.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you need something else.
It's tangible. It's like a real thing.
Yeah. If people are willing to follow you online, not everybody can accomplish this though. This is why I'm like TBD, because some people have tried this and they
we'll see how sales go. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it is.
It is always a little disheartening when you're like, you might put up a story like, hey, everyone, like, send in your favorite pictures with Z stuff, and you get like 3 people, and you're like, really? Like, damn. It's like,
right?
It's like, damn, we got 15 million views in this video, and we get 3 people who can send in a picture with a hat on.
Do you try to do some of those engagements? You did votes, you said.
Yeah, we do votes. We have like a brand ambassador program. It's the best deal of all time. All you have to do is say you want to be a brand ambassador. We'll send you a bunch of free stuff, and then like if you like introduce us to a store and we get in there, we do all the selling and everything. We just give you like $100 per store. Like, it's a very like, there's no commitment, and like, probably partly because of how easy it is. Like, we, a lot of them, like, we haven't heard from in months. It's like, guys, like, can you just send us a picture like with your hat on or something? Like, we just want, we want to like be able to put new content out and prove that other people besides us are wearing these things and stuff. So it's funny how, people will love your brand and they'll support you, and that's one group of people. And then there's the people who like actually talk about you, will actually wear your stuff, will actually send you things when they hear about it, and those people are invaluable. I mean, especially when you're a 3-person company growing your business, having true people who are out there microphoning for you is
supporting
huge.
From the boots on the ground support.
Yeah, totally.
We wouldn't be nearly as big as we are if it wasn't for the people who loved our products.
Yeah.
They would tell people, and like we hear it internally. So there's some stores that we're not in still that I get messages from like their bud tenders.
Totally.
Sometimes.
Same.
Like,
We're the same. Like, I don't know why we don't have
I'm
you guys.
fighting for you guys right now. I keep on telling them to bring you in. I don't understand why aren't bringing you in yet.
Yeah.
Everybody loves your products here. We don't know what's going on. And I'm just like,
yeah,
like,
the one buyer is not interested, so we're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we rubbed them the wrong way once in an email.
It's a very
That's the one part of you at least you can go national. We have Massachusetts.
Yeah, exactly. You can't burn any
400
bridges.
stores.
Yeah.
That's all we have.
You can't burn any bridges.
That's our market. So
are you guys thinking about doing any expansion?
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Turn the tables on me here.
Well, yeah, sorry.
So
I'm the host now.
Exactly. So quick on that one, and because we're about to close to wrap here, but expansion is in the works. We're talking to multiple people on this one. I would say no details yet to be shared, but I will say though that we're doing it very consciously and thoughtfully, because we've seen too many brands come into even Massachusetts or try to expand outside of Massachusetts to another state and fall flat because they're not cash flow positive yet, but they're just trying to expand to go find some other pool of money somewhere else, right? Grass is always greener. And so you're like, oh, did you hear about Michigan? And you're like, then 3 months later, you're like, oh, Michigan's, let's not go.
Yeah,
you know
we're selling an ounce for $3.
Exactly. You're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So we focused for the last 2 years on just growing our specific brands in Massachusetts, creating a formula that works, making
so that
sure
you
it's
can,
actually tight, and then we can say, okay, let's take this script and apply it to another state. Of course, there's going to be locale differences.
Yeah.
Everybody's different in even in Massachusetts. We isolated around like 8 or 9 different kind of populations across Massachusetts. We don't look at demographics either ourselves, like super deep. We really think it's more occasion based. It's just like, hey, I'm going out with the boys. I'm going, I'm relaxing at the end of the day or whatever. So that's just how cannabis use is. So I think a lot more people use cannabis, and I think there's some underserved populations such as Latinos, such as seniors, such as like there's so many of these pockets of types of people out there that are consumers that nobody's really
especially with your guys' products, like the seniors. I think just having something where you don't have to smoke it. So huge for them.
It's huge.
Like I know my grandparents, like they're interested, but they're so scared. It's like just give them something easy. Like,
well, and I think from our like what we're always trying to do is educate constantly, right? But education is super expensive too. So it's like, yes, we have all these plans and ideas of how to reach seniors, but like we can't execute on that quickly because we don't have resources. It's like, our marketing team is 2 people. One's social media and one's kind of like product and brand. And then we have helpers, freelancers, designers and stuff like that we use. But like we're tiny still. So for us, it's more of like, how do we make sure we do it? If we're doing it right in Massachusetts, how do we replicate that across other states? In certain states, you can't do 1,000 milligrams. New Jersey, I'd love to be there. It's 100 milligram cap. What am I going to do with that? Like that's not our audience. You know what I mean? So it's like, do we create a new brand just to go to New Jersey? No, because that's not focused. That's you're diversifying too fast. You know what I mean? Like we're not Procter and Gamble that can have 1,000 different brands. So for us, it's like Good Vibes is the brand, and wherever Good Vibes fits in, we'll look at those states.
That's what we're dealing with the homie pack as well. It's like, okay, we want to do this because we want you to have your brand as well, but like this is the homie pack. So like as much as we want our partners to be happy, we need you to bring the product the way it's supposed to be brought.
Exactly. So. And I think a lot of it is, especially at how many actually people are on your team?
3.
Just 3 of you guys.
And we have
the apartment office. Is that what you called it?
We have, our CEO Eric's apartment. This is where we go to the office. I work in a bedroom. We have it all set up.
Nice.
So it works. And we were packing orders out of it. We just for the last year we've had a 3PL. But like I mean honestly, when you can work remote, you're doing a lot of traveling. The budgets we have, like if we have enough money to spend on an office, like we should pay ourselves like real human beings before that. Like honestly, like so we're looking forward to when we can do that, but it's not the.
Are you taking a little salary though? You're taking salary.
We're taking a salary and it's growing and it's been amazing. It's the coolest feeling ever to be able to support yourself and your friends with your own business. And the way things are going, we'll definitely be in a place where we can take like a real, a nice salary at some point. But it's it's like anything. Like for example, for me, I just moved back home with my parents for the last year, and that's kind of allowed this all to happen. For me, like financially, just to take go away from your tech sales job that you were in a nice apartment, and now you're building something for the future, but right now you're not making a lot of money. And so we've all figured out how to deal with it in our own ways, but we all have had this very heavy buy-in and sacrifice of like, it's going to work. And when it does, that's when it's going to work.
100%. So you have to have, and I think that's one of the things with entrepreneurs is you have to have that kind of blind faith that it is all going to work.
Almost. It is blind. But
we don't know how it's going to work, but it is going to work.
You get enough irons in the fire and you work with the right people and you trust your nose and you follow it. And
well, as some famous entrepreneurs have said, you just burn the bridges behind you. There's only you have to go. You have to make it work. Right.
True.
But at the end of the day, like any entrepreneur who is going and starting their own business, you're going to learn skills. Maybe you already learned a ton of skills that are totally applicable to anything else in the future anyways. So it's like the amount that you level up by doing your own company is kind of insane.
It is.
It's a really rapid fire trial by fire.
It is fun now when I talk to girlfriends, dads, and friends, or parents' friends, and we talk about their business and things like. It's fun being.
You can relate.
I can talk about this stuff. Yeah. I now know what different functions of the business do. Like I grew up in doing sales, so it's like I know what marketing is. I know what
supply chain,
logistics is. So it is a really cool experience. And my grandpa, who's kind of like the guy I'd always talk to, and we had a really cool close relationship. He says it's like basically getting an MBA, but you're actually doing the work. Yeah. So
and I feel like, and I know not to knock on the MBA program, but it is like, if you really want to start a business, just start a business. Like, you don't have to go to school.
See how it goes.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
it'll be very clear what you need to learn.
Exactly.
Like when you need to learn it.
When you need to learn it, it's gonna come right in front of you. Like, oh, I don't know how to hire my first employee. Like, you got to go figure it out.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. As we wrap, where can people find you? What are people like? Obviously, Z's.com is maybe not a thing, or did you get that domain? Like, what's going on?
www.zzs.art. So
Nice.
z's.art. And people can find us online. I mean, that's where we make the best margin, but we just don't do a lot of sales through that. So go to your local dispensary. We're in 700 dispensaries in the country right now. So there's a chance you'll see us. If you don't, ask about it. That's the best possible way for us to get into these new dispensaries. If we call them and they say, "Who are you?" and we say we're Z's, and they go, "Oh, someone just asked for you," that is a way better situation than if we're just calling and saying Z's and they go, "I don't know who that is." So if you go into your local dispensary and don't see us, please ask. If you go into your local dispensary and see us, grab your favorite design and thank the bud tender and talk about how you love supporting artists. And that's really the best thing that people can do, is just kind of buy into this mission of promoting artists.
I love it. Yeah. So if you want to support artists and if you want to support entrepreneurs and startups, this is the time for you to act. Do it. Go call, make the phone calls, stop into the dispensaries, buy the product, support your local fellow entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah. And also, we now sell some of our artists' art through our Z's gallery on our website.
That's
so
awesome.
if you like some of the designs and you want a more permanent version of it, you can probably find it on our website.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Aidan.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason. This was awesome.